What's up? Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever time you're watching this video. I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody that's been watching my channel. Whether you like me or you not like me, whether you agree or you disagree, I thank you so much for tuning in to the ZTV 1990, because I do this for you. I do this for all my listeners and all my subscribers that wants to be informed of what's going on throughout anything that's going on in the world. I'm going to basically report on it. And, I'm wishing everybody have a great new year. May 2024 bring you even better luck. May 2024 give you more blessings than last year did. I wish everybody safe and well. Hope everybody's family is doing okay in these rough times. Okay, but getting down to business, I want to talk about D1 going forward. And this is going to be a learning lesson for everybody. And I want to address D1 because I care about this brother, right? I love him. Like, D1 is, I understand what he's trying to do. This man's been on fire for God. He has 10 albums in. The man has been preaching before, and, he's been doing all these good things. Being an ex-school teacher, right? This man has recently, everybody have seen it, that he's interviewing Sway in the Morning. But that's what I want to talk about. Because I feel D1 needs discipleship. He needs better discipleship. He needs somebody pouring into him that's going to steer him in the right direction. Because this man is going on 40 years old. And I feel the fact that him going back and forth with these rappers is getting ridiculous. So before I continue, man, this is not to offend nobody. This is not to, I'm not hating on D at all. I still listen to this man's music, especially his old stuff. His previous albums. I still listen to that. I like the message this guy says on his music. Don't get me wrong, I love it. He has some great tracks. And I'm happy that he got a deal from RCA. His Uno album is doing well. I get all that, right? It's a blessing. But D, check this out, brother. Because I'm going to tell you something that most other Christians ain't going to tell you. Your fans ain't going to tell you this because they scared. They're scared of being rejected. They're scared of you getting pissed off at them. It is what it is. But listen, brother, I'm somebody who's also been in the entertainment industry, but as a manager. I'm somebody who managed 3 contracts before. I'm somebody who has family. I have cousins who are a little older than you that's been performing in the entertainment industry for over 20-something years. Okay? But they've been more so on the R&B side. My subscribers in my previous channel, they know who they are. And even then, I got other cousins who are also producers. So listen, bro, I know how this industry can get. I know how a lot of these artists are. But D, check this out, brother. Mr. Augustine. You can't keep going back and forth with these rappers. Okay? Like how you came at Joe Budden, it's the exact same way Jim Jones came at you. How you came at Joe Budden, it's the exact same way Rick Ross checked you. Listen, brother, I understand that you want to see these hip-hop artists do well and you want them to do better, but it's all how you do it. For you to keep going back and forth with Rick Ross every time they respond, because Rick Ross and Jim Jones had every right to respond the way they did. Okay? You decided to take it upon yourself on Sway in the Morning, which is one of the biggest hip-hop outlets as far as the podcasts and interviews go. Sway has been around a long time. You went on there. First, you talked about Meek Mill. Now, the conversation should have just been left alone with Meek Mill. If you had a problem with Meek, you should just left it alone with Meek. But the fact that you had to mention Jim Jones and Rick Ross, brother, you brought negative attention to yourself. Now, my son told you this in his video. He did his reaction video. He tried to tell you this, but I'm telling you this as well. When you say that, oh, Jim Jones, you need to do better. Rick Ross, you need to do better. And Meek Mill, you need to do better. You basically telling other grown men, other adults, what they need to be doing. And yet you didn't have the same energy for the rest of the industry. You just singled them 3 out. And it's crazy how Rick Ross had an album coming out just a week after yours was released. You did that Sway in the Morning video just 1 week after your Uno album was released. But Rick Ross had an album coming that following Friday. You know, I find that funny. Now, Doggy Diamonds said you capping. I clear everything that Doggy Diamonds said in his podcast about you is it looked like it's becoming true, bro. Because you keep, every time I turn around, you keep reacting to what somebody else got to say about you. D, at the end of the day, you put yourself out there to be criticized. You put yourself out there for these rappers to respond to you. But what I'm saying is, man, don't go hard on Joe Budden. Because at the end of the day, Joe Budden has a podcast too. Joe Budden going to talk about whatever is trending. Your Sway in the Morning interview was the hottest thing trending in the month of November. So, of course, Joe Budden going to have his opinion with his the rest of his co-host. Now, you say you don't like how Jim Jones came. You want to say you don't like how Joe Budden came at you, but Jim Jones came at you the exact same way. Now, I'm about to play this for all my people that's watching and your people too. So I want you to hear what he has to say. I want you to hear it through my video.
I don't like to hear people mention my name, especially when you don't know me. Okay. That's very touchy. Yeah. You gotta watch whose names you mentioning out here. Mm-hmm. You heard? Yeah. Because my little cousin might not like how you mention my name. You heard? And then he might want to slap a dread out your head just because he don't understand that you're using my name for fame, and he don't understand that. With the bullshit, you heard? When you see me, keep your hand down, you heard? Where you from, New Orleans? No, don't play with me like that. People from New Orleans already called me, you heard?
Now, you heard that, D. Pretty sure you have. Everybody's heard it, right? But, again, brother, you set yourself up to get responded to in that way. But you doing Joe Budden the exact same way Jim Jones talked about you on his interview with Sway. Okay? D, the Bible says, do unto others you won't done to you. Brother, you be a man of God, you can't play the same cards as the sinner. And see, here's the thing, man. Jim Jones, Rick Ross, and even Joe Budden, these men are in their 50s. They a little older than you. They got you by at least about 9 to 10 years, man. You 38 going on 39. You and LeBron James around the same age. But Joe Budden, right, Rick Ross, and Jim Jones, these men are in their 50s. And even then, brother, you having a diss record on Joe Budden, like, look, man, you got to know who you messing with, bro. Anybody that knows about Joe Budden can rap. Joe Budden has a background in battle rap. That man was signed to Eminem at one point in time. I don't know if he still is, but you need to be careful what you're doing because you're playing with fire. Yeah, you say you have a diss record with Joe Budden, but Joe Budden could put something out and go viral and get more views. Bro, I don't think you're ready for that, man. If you release that diss record with Joe Budden, you starting drama. Again, D, I love you, man, but you got to be wiser than that. You don't got to keep reacting to these artists. For example, right, in that video, that response you did on Joe Budden, the artists who you list, they ain't going back and forth with Joe Budden. I'm not for to repeat their names, but they not going back and forth with Joe Budden. Because for one, they don't got time. And two, they bigger than that. Like, Joe is Joe, bro. You understand? Joe Budden gonna talk. But Joe Budden also is a businessman at that. He's an entrepreneur. The man know how to make his money. But going at Joe Budden, bro, that's petty. It really is. Because this makes you out to be a hypocrite. Because again, Rick Ross and Jim Jones got criticized heavy for how they responded to you. D1, you had the entire Christian community coming at Rick Ross and Jim Jones. Ty Jackson on TikTok, everybody. Roos and KD, who I'm gonna address him at the end of this video. Because he need to be checked. But yeah, you got multiple people coming at them. Because they felt that you came at them wrongly. And I'll be honest, D, you mentioned what you did in your community. You was bragging. You was boasting and bragging in that Sway interview. Not only do you get on them for doing something wrong, right? Making violent music, but you start talking about the stuff you did in your community. Right? So Rick Ross had to tell y'all, look, man, we've been doing the same thing. We care about our community too. So D, man, going forward, I don't want you, and this is just me personally. You ain't got to take my advice, but I'm telling you this because, again, I'm telling you this because I actually care. And I care about your career. Because other people ain't going to tell you this. Stop going back and forth with Joe Budden. Stop going back and forth with Jim Jones and Rick Ross. Stop. If these rappers talk about you, leave it alone. Just leave that mess alone. Unless you're gonna diss him like you about to do Joe Budden. Because again, bro, since you got a diss record of Joe Budden, you might as well release it now. Tell Joe Budden how you really feel about him. Because D1, if that's the case, man, Joe Budden will actually respond. Just like you was trying to challenge Rick Ross to a diss record when you went back and forth on that live. You trying to challenge Rick Ross on that live after he got done responding to you. He told you to get that basket off your head. Come on now, bro. Let's be honest, D1, you didn't like it at all. Again, D, I see what you're saying. I get your message. But look here, bro. I don't understand how you can come at Joe Budden, Jim Jones, Meek Mill, and Rick Ross, but you ain't going at Lil Wayne or Boosie. And these are artists from your city, Louisiana. Better yet, why you not going at NBA Youngboy the same way? NBA Youngboy has the hottest streaming service in Louisiana. He's the biggest artist, bro. And he's younger. He's what these young generation, Gen Z and Gen Alpha is listening to. And see, this is what Doggy Diamonds was pointing out too, man. And he said it best. The young folks aren't listening to Meek, Ross, and Jones. They not, bro. You think they got influence? They really don't. You see, Meek, Jones, and Rick, they on their way out. Okay? They're a little older than you. Well, Meek is 36 years old, but he's been out a while. But these men, like Ross and Jim Jones, they ain't gonna be around the next 15 years. They on their way, they about to be into retirement. The younger generation, brother, I'm talking about the young people, the men and women that's in their 20s. That's in between 18 and 25. They listening to G Herbo. Listen to NBA Youngboy, Doja Cat, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Yachty, Kodak Black. All right? They listen to those particular artists. The Juice WRLDs, the man who got killed, him and PNB Rock, they listen to those type of rappers. Like Meek and Jim and Ross, they got their own art, they got their own fan base, but their fan base is older. They more so my generation. Gen X and the millennials, they will listen to that. But a lot of these, again, they're not, Ross, those guys are not as popular as these other younger artists I just mentioned. Like Lil Nas X, why you not saying he need to do better? It's like you didn't mention Lil Uzi Vert at all. Come on, D. Like Joe Budden has a right to his opinion just like you did. Just like you use your opinion. You took it upon yourself to mention them 3 rappers. Joe Budden's only talking about what he's hearing. But like unlike you, Joe Budden actually has a relationship with those 3 rappers you called out. And that's the difference. So all I'm going to say, D1, you got to learn from this, man. You got to be discipled properly. I don't know who your pastor, who your ministers are, or what church you go to, but look, man, somebody need to be talking to you. If you was under me and you was the one I was discipling, D1, me and you have to have a conversation. Because you signed to RCA right now. You part of a major record deal. Anything you do, bro, reflects on RCA. And Meek, Jim Jones, and Ross, they all got their own label. Ross is MMG. He got his own separate label under Universal. So by you going at those artists, bro, you starting battle rap. You starting rap beef. They respond and you react. You say something, they react. Then you respond. They go back and forth. But again, bro, like you got to be careful because then now you're going to have people trying to egg you on to release a diss record to Joe Budden. You got to be careful with that. Now you're going to have people wanting you and Joe Budden to do head-to-head. Go one-on-one on a battle rap. They're going to be egging Joe Budden to diss you. Like D, you got to be smart in that. And again, bro, you can't talk about Lecrae being lukewarm because you came at him too. You can't talk about Lecrae being lukewarm because he's hanging around Cardi B saying Righteous and Ratchet, promoting her clothing line on his platform, yet you got a song with The Game. And last time I checked, Game ain't a Christian rapper at all. He don't talk about God like that. And matter of fact, since you did that track with him on your new album, I don't remember Game going on Instagram Live, TikTok, Facebook, or whatever, saying that he's repented his sins and that he's gotten baptized. I don't remember Game even reading no Bible or anything like that, bro. Again, I understand you trying to be that light. You trying to be that line in the sand. Or you trying to draw a line in the sand. I understand you trying to do these good things, but you gotta be mindful, bro. Like The Game does the same type of music as Meek, Jones, and Ross. Same exact thing, brother. The same type of music Joe Budden was putting out, he's been putting out too. Gangster rap in the streets. And then you also got music with Kevin Gates. I heard them track before, brother. Like I said, I'll pay attention to your music. Because D1, you starting to look like a hypocrite. I'm just going to call it for what it is, bro. You are starting to look like a hypocrite. You responding to Joe Budden the way you did. Yet, your fan base, everybody got mad at how Jim Jones came at you on Sway in the Morning. This makes you look to be a hypocrite. You doing the exact same thing, reacting the exact same way they was reacting when you were coming at them. And here he is, like I said, these are grown men. D, you gotta understand, you can't tell other grown men what they shouldn't be doing or what they should be doing. You can't be saying that, brother. Especially men that are older than you. Now, you a little older than Meek Mill, but Meek Mill's still a grown man at the end of the day. You were still giving away his shoes, knowing what type of rapper he was. Let's not forget about that too. You was giving out his shoes a prison for him, knowing that man is a gangster rapper, knowing his background. And you knew that man had a diss record with you knew the game dissed Meek Mill on Pest Control, which I posted on my TikTok. Now that video got 13.4K views, but people need to know the truth. You need to be checked for that. You did a song with Meek Mill's op. Him and Game, last time I checked, still don't get along to this day. The Game is not allowed in certain places in Philadelphia. Now I don't know if Game told you I've been pumping your head up about them brothers. But again, D, you gotta be mindful of that. If Meek was to hear that you got Game on your album, right? That might piss him off. That might start something. That might re-spark something that happened over 8 years ago, and that was a very bad diss record. The Game said all rats had to die though. You ain't nothing but Nicki Minaj sideshow, right? He said some very low down things about Meek Mill on that track. So D1, you got to be mindful of that. Now Meek is probably not worried about it. He ain't listening to you anyway. He probably don't know. But again, D, you got to be careful of that. Yeah, you trying to make a diss track with Joe Budden, that's petty, man. Like, come on, you're above that, brother. You a man of God. Why would you let Joe Budden get you that upset? Again, you put it out there. Joe Budden's not the only person in hip-hop that was talking about you either. I'm pretty sure Vlad was getting ready to have a segment about you on his platform. You got Big Boy in the Morning. There's other hip-hop platforms of people talking about you. He ain't the only one. But again, D1, if you're going to go at these rappers, go at these executives too. Because that's the case, D. Why you not saying Elon Musk need to do better? Why you not saying Leon Cohen and somebody like Jimmy Iovine need to do better? These vice presidents, these CEOs, these presidents of these labels that's cutting these checks, recruiting rappers like Sexy Red, why you not saying they need to do better? That needs to be addressed too. Yeah, don't just go after Jones, Meek, and Ross. Go after the entire industry. Right? Won't you hold these parents accountable for their kids listening to this music, which you did in that Sexy Red video, right? Of that little girl's doing a sing-along with her friends at a birthday party, looks like. But no, go at the executives. Go at the Caucasian Jews who own Universal, Atlantic, and Sony. That artists like Jay-Z got stock with. Yeah, I don't see you saying Sean Carter needs to do better, but at the same time, too, Sean Carter ain't putting out that type of music anymore. Which I find funny how people go at him, but he's changed. Yeah. Won't you tell NBA Youngboy, Little Uzi Vert, G Herbo, okay, Chief Keef, and even Tekashi 6ix9ine. Yeah, won't you tell Tekashi 6ix9ine he need to do better, D? Why you not going hard on Tekashi 6ix9ine? That's still running his mouth. Yeah, won't you tell DJ Academics he need to do better? All the artists that he basically instigated and antagonized, went back and forth between enemy rappers that caused people to get shot out there in the streets and get in trouble. Now this man in trouble with women, won't you say he needs to do better? D1, won't you go on DJ Academics' platform and have a heart-to-heart with him? Come on now, man. Since you say you care about the young folks. Now, don't go after the old men. Don't go after the older heads that's pretty much set in their ways and are basically semi-retired, bought out the game. Don't go after them. Go after the younger folks. Go after the 22, 23-year-olds. You go after the sexy reds. Right? You going after Lecrae, but why you didn't address Cardi B? Or are you scared of Quavo, her husband, Migos? Oh, come on, D, you can't be doing this, man. You gotta go at everybody, and I mean everybody. If you going that route. Other than that, brother, it just looks like you capping. And again, I say it looks like. I'm not saying you capping. Just say what you, because the Bible says judge a man based on his fruits. But that's all, bro. I have to address that now. And let me get on one more other line of business. Listen, to Ruslan, brother. Ruslan KD, and to his fans that's watching this. None of this is about God. None of this is Christian-like. All Ruslan KD is doing is instigating it. He's adding fuel to the fire. That's why Joe Budden said, I don't want to be in D1's Christian rhetoric. He don't. Ruslan don't do nothing but sit in his house all day on his podcast reacting to what celebrities got to say. None of this is about God at all. This is not helping nobody get saved. Ruslan, you need to just say you don't like Joe Budden at all for whichever reason. You hate this man. Even his interview with Tyrese, they ain't had nothing to do with you at all. Like, come on, man. Everybody's not going to be on the same level as you and D1 when it comes to spirituality, but you can't be using your platform to paint somebody in a negative light. Ruslan, you don't know anything about Joe Budden at all while you talking. Again, you're not making this any easier. Because if D1 was to release that diss record on Joe Budden, you're going to be the first one instigating it, playing it on your episode, talking about it. Then if Joe Budden wants to come back around and make another and respond to D1, making his own diss track and coming against God, you're going to say he's the devil. He's satanic. He's going to hell. And Ruslan, there's multiple YouTubers that are starting to respond to you. Brother, we on to you now. We know that you're not a real man of God. Because Ruslan, if you was a real child of God, like you claim to be, you just seem to have opinion about everybody. You use the word of God to go at other people you don't even know. Right now, you had a couple of people on. You had D1 on your show, right? You interviewed Marcus Rogers, but look, bro, look at all your content. Like, come on, man. None of this is Christ-like. Joe Budden don't even know who you are, man. Leave Joe Budden alone. Listen, Ruslan, if you was really out here putting in work, and I'm talking about real work. And when I mean by work, I mean out here speaking in tongues, praying for an hour or more. Out here laying hands on people, praying for the sick, feeding the homeless, having Bible study in your house amongst other people in a group like I do with my church. Having toy drives, shoe drives like D1 was doing. See, D1 was actually doing work, okay? Now, I don't agree with D1 going out here boasting, bragging, but at least D1's been doing some work over the last 10 years. Ruslan, what are you doing besides this podcast? Talking about celebrities. You, Nick Jones, Isaiah Robin, and Salvador, all y'all, man. You making Christianity bad. You giving people of God a bad name. None of this is going to help nobody. Bro, you need to cut this out. Stop trying to respond back to Joe Budden. Because now you're just instigating more beef. You even responded to Jim Jones. Again, Jim Jones and Rick Ross had every right to respond to D1 the way they did. Now Joe Budden, D1 is doing the same thing to Joe Budden that they did to him. It's hypocrite. You making D1 out to be a hypocrite, bro. This is not helping at all. D1 is not telling you to do this. You need to leave this stuff alone, man. Because Joe Budden don't believe in God like you do. He really don't. And that's the reality of it. You're wasting your time. And to the Christians and people watching this channel, I'm showing you this for a reason. I'm showing you this video for a reason. There are people like Ruslan KD who instigate. They want D1 to keep this rap beef going. They want drama. They want him to keep going at these rappers creating drama. I guarantee you Ruslan is not praying for none of these artists like Joe Budden that he talks about. None of them. This man ain't praying for no salvation at all. Okay? He's not doing no work. But I sit there and tell you what's right and what's wrong. He ain't reading the Bible like that neither. Because Ruslan KD is really reading the Bible like that and he was really praying in the Holy Ghost, praying in tongues, really seeking the Lord. He wouldn't be doing none of these videos like that. that man would be on his channel actually preaching. Well, talking about none of these celebrity gossip. Okay? And that's my problem with him, man. You know, I tried to like Ruslan one time. I just can't, man. I was a fan of his at one time. At one time, I was subscribing to him on my other channel that I no longer have. But lately, this man just been doing nothing but responding to celebrities. Like I said, that interview with Joe Budden and Tyrese, again, it has nothing to do with you. And you keep discrediting Joe Budden. You keep talking down on this man. You don't know him personally at all. You don't have no relationship with Joe Budden. You don't know this man at all or what he's been through. And when Joe Budden says that, like right here, right? It's facts. Ruslan, I understand you're not from the hood, brother. You ain't been around no Bloods and Crips a day in your life, let alone around any ex-convicts. You ain't never lived in a neighborhood that has the ghetto bird, which is the police helicopters. And where I'm from, we call it the ghetto bird. You ain't never been around gunshots, pimps and players, selling a woman on a stroll on the corner like that. You ain't never been around no drug dealing a day in your life to even be talking about, comprehend what he's saying. Now, you see Jim Jones say he got a cousin that slapped the dreads off of D1. There are people in the streets, Ruslan, and I hope you watching too. Ruslan, there are people that don't care about don't care about your Christianity status. They really don't. See, Joe Budden comes from the streets. Ruslan, you don't come from the hood to even comprehend what he's saying. So, Ruslan, everything you saying in your video is none and void. Somebody like me who actually come from the hood, I can't take it seriously. I can't. Because Joe Budden is right. D1 need to be careful going back and forth with these rappers. There are people that take this rap beef seriously. There have been people who went to jail behind rap beef. People who have gotten shot behind rap beef. It's a real thing. There's nothing to be playing around with. But all you doing, brother, is just making things bad, adding fuel to the fire. And you judging these people. You judging these artists. So that's all I want to say, man. Again, going into 2024, y'all, we got to stop listening to the nonsense. Because all this is BS. This man, Ruslan KD, again, none of this is actual Christianity. It's not real Christianity at all. It's just not. All this man doing is just responding to celebrities. That's it. Look, he going at Tyrese, right? You going at him, right? But you just again, look at this, man. Like, again, he's not helping none of these people he's talking about. But that's it. I hope that clarifies something. You know, I want D1 to do better, but again, man, he got to stop going back and forth with these artists. Because, again, all he's doing is creating beef, unnecessary beef. But that's it, folks. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Thank you for viewing.